So, without further ado, maybe we'll get through this. You can see it's one of those days because I have different earphones as well. I left my earphones at work. I got home later than usual. And then I'm like, bro, we need family time. We got to make sure to listen to family, listen to the day. How did the day go? How's Maru? How's Maddie doing? Struggles, good things, bad things. Let's go. Let's talk about it. And then we can stream, So, you had two monsters. My God. My God. Okay. Let's dive right in, shall we? You just make sure everything is closed here that doesn't need to be open. We got a thing here. This is good. Cool. All right. Boop. There we go. Hey. Not going to partake, but we'll take a peek. Nice. All right. So we got this one. This piece here. Sal, this is from you. So I saw you post this in critiques earlier. I think it was yesterday. And the thing that stands out to me with this, so of course you've got all the details where you would expect them, and that's really good. I think where we're suffering from right now in your hard surface understanding, like it looks like the scope looks pretty good. It's the way the shape of the body is. Like I can tell, like this is a box, and then you've done some Boolean cuts of these like cylinders, right, for the rail pattern. That rail pattern, are they circular like that? That's the type of stuff to think about, right? Yeah, this area here is quite thick. You can tell that this is cube-like, and then the sides were beveled, and then maybe this was extruded and then tapered off as it goes to the face here. So being able to, when you can deconstruct it like that, I would say that's a sign that you're not really pushing the geometry beyond like its geometric nature. Like you're not going into like what you actually see with weapons in real life. And you can see the front here is quite boxy as well, and maybe it is in the reference. And basically doing 1-to-1 to a reference concept from this for this. So even so, like, have you posted any of the reference? Is this just this is a vector, right? Let me see if I can. I mean, maybe it's not necessarily a vector, a Chris vector. Copy image. Is this gonna work? So, I mean, maybe the front isn't gonna be right, and it looks like the stock is very different, right? References in chat. What? References in chat now is at the very bottom. Oh yeah, I see it. Okay. So that reference is a sketch, right? You're going to need to be inspired by the reference of the sketch, and then taking what you're seeing in real life and implementing it in a way that helps it read naturally. I think you didn't mean chat. You meant the thread. I got you. I got you, man. So if let's see if we copied this image right. Yeah, no, we did not. Hang on here. Okay. So, for example, you can see it's a sketch, right? Of course it's a sketch. And I mean, if you're going off of this, you've already gone away from it when you look at how you're doing your site. And the site here is very different. Now the thing is the thing that looks the most accurate is the site. And I think it's because you're looking at references of a real site. So when you're looking at like the design of this, and I mean, it looks like a Chris Vector or some type of a modified version of it. Like it's very snub nosed. It doesn't have the barrel you expect Let me see if I can't. Is this gonna post? So it's like you're excluding this, right? So we'll just doodle it away really faster. So that's cool. Um, there's not a lot of exterior details that are happening here, so it is very flat on the outside. But looking at like how the opening of I guess where the rounds will exit once fired, look at references of real weapons and really try and pull those types of details through, because that's where that stuff's gonna come through. Yeah, this looks like, is this a, no, this isn't a, so this is a pistol with an adapter. Is that what you're saying? Oh, it is. I see it now. So given all of that information, I mean, I would definitely be looking at other weapons in real life to pull, like you see this detail here, like this type of detail here. You have to find that in how that type of detail is represented in real guns in order to get that look across, right? This type of detail here, this crazy thing, I've not seen that before, and like this gap here, that, as far as I know, that does not exist, but it could be very wrong. So in this scenario, it's going to be kind of weird to solve that. This sight also, how it tapers down like that, is, I don't think I've seen that very much. But it is really about, like, you know, that even though you're looking at it in the reference here and how this goes down, and you can see it gets narrower as it goes down, but that back piece, that butt has to go against your gun, right? Or against your shoulder. So when that goes against your shoulder, there's very specific like ergonomic design that's gone into like how those are manufactured for real weapons. So you can use this type of shape language for inspiration and the way that the, like, this piece connects to this piece, but how this is shaped is going to be very specific to like how you see it in real life. So I think being able to take a design that's been concepted and run it through the stream of detail where it's been designed in a way that's like reality. I think that's where you're hitting a wall where basically it just looks very simple in a lot of areas. Like this area here, my favorite part. Like the rest feels very either forced or doesn't look, it looks more like a toy in that sense. And yeah, and the way the grip is designed has to be designed in order for you to hold it. Getting your finger into the where the trigger is and how thick this is there's a very particular way that all works. The other thing too is I can't tell that this is like, I think it was you that was saying, oh no, it actually seems more like a carbine adapter for a pistol. So if there's like an actual pistol in here, making this feel like it connects to it is going to be really important. But I don't know if that's the actual case. Yeah, if you can get a hand, especially a hand that's like close and like holding like a, looks like it's holding a grip and maybe the trigger, or like has like the safety finger, getting that next to your model is going to help you a whole lot when it comes to those types of details. But yeah, right now it's very I would say it's very simple in the way it's put together geometrically, and that should probably be looked at more than the texturing right now. This area for sure though looks pretty good. The little, what is, like the rail lines here, I don't know if it's that often or if that feels weird being tight detailed like that. Carbine adapter for pistol image search results were pretty on point for this. Okay, it's good to know. So hopefully that helps, Sal. Next up we've got Karen. Let's see, or Jan. Karen's or Karen S Jet. So I think overall this turned out pretty nice. The hair looks much better as well with the way the highlight is happening. Madu's Motto is stoked right now. Let me make sure I got my hang on here. Just gonna and let's see if we can't. There we go. All right. I think I just audio canceled him out. But overall, this looks pretty good. I don't know if like initial pose steady with standing character model. Oh, this is cool. I don't know how much of these images you're gonna need. This one seems really useful if you're doing like skin shader tests. But I like this one seems more beneficial than this one, for example. So I'm not sure how much you'll need this one either. Oh, for your first gun, that's pretty good, Sal. I'm horrible at that stuff. Maybe I should try a gun on stream. That'd be interesting. But Jan, overall, I think the way you've done the background and the how everything is focused, it's pretty good. The ship detail. This is the part where I get a little thrown off. Is the detail here doesn't really match the type of detail you're seeing here. Like these cables seem quite stylized versus this one is more along the rougher side. But I mean, maybe that you were going for quite a reflective surface. I think if there was more roughness contrast between the metal parts here and then these type of rubbery looking bits closer to this range, it probably would feel maybe a little bit more consistent. But I think the overall image is quite strong, especially when you see like where it was coming from, which I don't see here. You should definitely link where you're getting inspired from this and show like what the target was that you were going towards. Yeah, Miro, all about it, huh? Let's see here. We got Nick up next. Copy this image. So this is a little. So the image is a little low res. Work in progress using last month's prompt. Dude, last month's prompt was pretty fun, man. The new one's supposed to launch tomorrow. I need to sit down and figure out the rest of that text. So it might be a little delayed, you know. But it should drop tomorrow. So when I look at this, texturally speaking, the ranges are kind of they feel rather intense. I'm curious what this looks like in a albedo only. I would like to see what this looks like albedo only, just to see where your ranges are at, because the areas that are quite light down here, I don't know, everything just feels really contrasted. Maybe it's the strength of the normal, because like in the areas here, it's quite dark, and I think if you had some ambient light in there, it would probably soften it up quite a bit. Ambient lighting is really important when it comes to this stuff. This red feels very saturated as well. The joy of Tacoma studio lighting in Painter. Where seems a bit off and nondescript. You're talking about like this type of wear, like the light values versus like where the damage is and whatnot? Or are you talking about the wear on the paint? Because I think the issues are mainly with the ranges in your albedo and how you're handling your roughness. If you could post those, that would be really cool. Like I'd love to see what your roughness looks like and what your albedo only looks like. If you get a chance, post that in chat. We can come back to it. But overall, I would say the model looks all right. Maybe a little low poly. You can probably like, I don't know, take the poly count and increase it 5 times to get some like really nice silhouette breaks in there. Right now it's pretty edgy. The UVs on the window slats are the wrong direction. Really? Yeah, the cloudy general wear is always going to kind of read a little off. The other thing too is like I think you're getting like you got this darker value that's in here, and it looks like you're generating some normals off of it. I'd be really careful with that type of um, bringing in normal detail through painted masks. Usually on something this size can result in just a lot of like noise buildup. Those kind of doors are made of connected strips of wood. Oh, so you mean like, yeah, you're talking about, let me see if I can display this well. You're talking about how these lines are here. So you're expecting that strip to go all the way through, like so. And then maybe like there's separate strips of wood up here, like that. The yellow. Ah, okay. Yeah, so in here, figuring out how these are all interconnected or how they meet and are designed. Remy, how you doing? Yeah, one single piece of wood is usually the is not possible, right? Usually it's a combination of like different pieces of wood being glued together or shaped together in a way where it kind of looks contiguous or continuous, but it's they're still separate pieces. Pablo, yes. So I see your message in critiques. This is definitely more for single pieces. It can be a completed scene or a scene that you're starting. Is that a haircut I see? It is. Or maybe I just didn't do it. I don't know. Um, Portfolio critiques are every third Thursday. So we've got next Thursday and then portfolio critiques again, if I remember correctly. You can check it out in the Discord. There's a channel called Stream Info. You can get it here. But yeah, go there and you can find what you're looking for. Okay, so yeah, I think when it comes down to this model, it's very much about the albedo, the roughness, and making sure things feel constructed in the way that you're expecting. Like these grain lines, I would carry them through, like really make it look like it's put together, and then understanding how these all connect and where the points are connecting at. Looking at reference, if you can get reference close enough. Someone in chat, I don't know who it was it Polysocks? Might be able to get you the information you need because like you can see the wood grain is going this way, and I think it actually on these longer pieces would be going this way, but in these pieces it would go this way, and I think it's usually going to go in the direction of the primary flow, but it all depends on how it's constructed, right? So keep that in mind. And when it comes to the materials here, right now we're getting kind of an almost an unlit view. So it's kind of difficult to see what we're looking at lighting wise. Has to be the lighting, you think, huh? Lighting or normals? Yeah, I think being able to share. Oh, there we go. Okay, let's see here. So here's the albedo and the roughness. I think getting some contrast in the wood, the painted wood from the wall would do a lot. Right now they're very similar, a little different from each other, but they're a little similar or a little too similar. These little lines here, I don't know if those would actually. Those little lines shouldn't happen. These darker lines in here. If anything, they should be lighter. They're in chat. So getting some contrast on that, and then what's the detail that's behind that? It's usually open, right? So if there's something behind there, is it a glass or is it a? Because right now it's really rough, so it's not roughness value wise. It's really high in the value. So just keeping all of those things in mind, and getting like a good lighting scenario. Maybe shadows in there. I think just dragging this into an Unreal scene that's been set up for you through Unreal defaults is going to be pretty good. Because it should give you a good default scene that you can really show the difference. You may want to decide if it's thick red lacquer or more modern paint. That's a good... Yeah, thinking about the material types is going to be really important. Okay, J. Crew. What's going on here? This looks pretty hardcore. Let's see here. Let's make sure I'm getting them all. Just bring that up here. This here. Yeah, make some good progress on the gate though. Just I think yeah, I think you're right. It's the lighting and then getting some material contrast in there through the roughness. So there's a lot of detail in here. There's some nice modeling going on. Dang, and this is terrifying. The needle here. Or rather the syringe. Lots of storytelling going on though. Oh wow. Is it weird that the needle is in it? A syringe. Gosh dang it. Cool stuff, needles list to say. Needles. D-Zone. I hate needles. Hey, me too, man. Me too. Worth. So this is pretty cool. That leaf feels very, very flat. I don't know if it's like connected to the... Let's see here. Some really cool like inset pieces for like hidden compartments and shelves and stuff. I don't know how, like, is this behind this? Does this inset too far? It's hard to tell. Like, is there enough depth here, but this can still go behind it? Those are the things I end up looking at. Can I ask a question that isn't specifically related to Blender and more so the responsibilities of job role in the game industry? Yeah? Yeah, so you can see this, I mean, in the concept, that depth, there's like no room for this to happen. So I think if you actually, I mean, this will probably be a little bit more interesting if all of the detail that's on the inside here was just a little bit further out. So you made it deeper? Okay. Like if this is a little bit shallower so that the book stuck out more, then the space here would be used for the book. I think you could get some more interesting silhouettes. It could be quite interesting. This is review time. Hey, Reckless, ask away, man. Oh, that's cool. These, like, when it closes, these cushions kind of keep them in place. I mean, overall, this looks really... Man, that is a flat leaf, isn't it? That is so weird to me. Consistency is very good here. Um, I think when it comes to the smaller details, that's where it gets maybe a little bit too micro. I would maybe suggest like really leaning into the style that you're pushing here and just thickening up stuff like the strap here, making it a little bit wider, making the little buckles and those types of details a little bit thicker, a little bit bigger. Making these maybe not so sharp edged. Just really leaning into like this strap here should maybe feel like these straps. Then you'll get a much more like consistent visual. Um, the little buckle clips and stuff, like you push this in and you swing this piece down to lock into that. If these were a little bit thicker so that you see them more, that could be pretty cool. Make sure that these line up as well. Oh man, that would freak me out if they didn't. They don't in the concept, that's for sure. But you can see like even the ring here is quite big. It's quite thick. So keep all of that in mind. Um, but modeling wise, this is really cool. Is the so this is all like I'm like, is this stone? What is this? The inside of wood? This looks like a whole log or something. Like there's pieces of wood on the outside. I don't know what this is made out of. It must be wood. But it's really cool. I'd be interested to see some like basic colors on all of this stuff just to see how it looks together. Oh, I didn't notice this. The shapes here don't really reflect the shapes here. Trying to get these more round or like in the direction that lines up with them is going to be really important, I think. But really cool. Really, really cool. Okay, let's get that question answered here. So lately, I've been working to become an environment artist. That is my goal. But as I do work and get feedback, I'm asked if I would like to be a tech artist since I do more advanced materials and learning to troubleshoot ideas and get them functional. So the question would be like, is tech artist very general, a very general term? I feel as tech artist can be broken down into specialized skill sets as needed for game studios. Is there anything you could clear up to help me understand the range of a tech artist? A tech artist is very broad in range, and the more AAA you become, the more specialized it becomes. Um, I can't speak for all for tech artists, mainly because they're all kind of different, depending, like you're saying, depending on what studio they're in, and how they split that discipline up. But they're also doing a lot of rule set adjustments and trying to make sure that everything is being built to a certain standard, where it comes from shaders to like how things are being streamed in, how we're constructing assets, how many meshes and material calls are happening, and in any of those like more technical side of game development, tech art is helping artists answer. And it's not just artists that tech art is helping with. They're also helping level designers in a lot of cases as well. Maybe they're blocking out a space in a way that's not going to perform well. Like, oh, maybe you can see too far, and streaming wise, this is going to be a problem. Maybe we need to block your vision after like 40 meters. You shouldn't be able to see past 40 meters because it's going to break something like the lighting, or maybe the AI's limitation is after 40 meters, AI doesn't see you anymore. That's a big problem. And tech art is helping you as level artists or level designers get get that type of information on the table, so that way everyone can make more informed decisions and make a good game. So it's not very. I wouldn't say I'm really answering your question too well, other than giving you more information to kind of process. Edwin is in chat. He's tech art. As tech art, we do everything that is too technical for an artist, but too artsy for a programmer. And I mean, some studios have technical level designers, which are kind of like tech art for level design, right? It really depends on how big your studio is. Yeah, and I would agree with Polly. Nowadays, tech art jobs seem to be way heavier on the tech than art. But yeah, definitely when you look at Eric's right, you should ask a question to the studio who's offering you the role, the job application, or the like this is what the job is, should tell you a whole lot about what it is. No problem, Reckless. It's funny you're that boy Reckless, but if people are saying you should look into tech art, I don't know how reckless you really are. This looks pretty cool. Is it Christian? You just paste this in here. This looks pretty awesome. Framing wise, it's a little. It feels a little strange. Uh oh, wait a minute. That was a terrible dad joke. Okay, this is bad. Ben, this is really bad. Because this is the first time I've done a terrible dad joke and didn't realize it. Maybe if I was a tech artist dad, the change is upon us. Oh no. Oh, not like this. Not like this. So this scene's pretty cool. It feels a little, I don't know, tight. Like the framing is very like your doff, like your doff is making the space kind of compact, right? But I feel like the camera needs to be further back because of it. It feels like I'm losing visibility on like this bottom edge here, and we're seeing a lot of the ceiling, which I can understand why. There's a lot of detail up there. Um, so your questions is big work in progress on textures, but can I get a vibe check on the composition and lighting? So the lighting I like quite a bit. Um, there is something to be said about this like back area here. I wonder if I can. Nah, this is not gonna work. I'd be okay. I'd be blown away if this worked. No, that's kind of crazy. So this back area. Oh my god, that's insane. I'll take it. So it's a little janky, but the whole back area here, I kind of feel like you could do something to separate that back area more. Maybe it's just the atmosphere, bringing the atmosphere up, so it's a little bit foggier back there. Could do the trick. Um, I don't know if you know what I mean. Just getting that back area to separate out more. I don't know if lightening it up is the answer, but let's just see if we can grab this again and just see. Because what you want to do, I totally get the light being back here as well. What you want to do is separate this out so that the table and the chairs kind of make themselves known. You know. I think if we go in and just kind of grab this, you can get the space to pop more by doing that, right? Maybe these become lighter too. Let's just grab these ones just to illustrate the difference. I can put a mask on there. Invert that mask. There we go. Get some softness there. See, by getting this kind of gradients happening on your surfaces, you're going to get much more of a natural kind of, dare I say, vibe check. A more natural vibe check. So you can see how much more that does than just the flat light in the back. Warmer light could be nice. I mean, it is pretty warm in here. You can see how much separation you're getting now. Natural vibe check. Band name called it. Could make the shadows cool color. Yeah, Alex, that was the next thing I was gonna look at. Is If you go to just like camera raw and just start taking your shadows and trying to push them, like change the temperature of the scene and seeing what that does to your colors. Because you could take like, let's just paste it again and we'll filter it out. Camera raw. We'll cool it off a little bit. And then maybe you could work on like where the light is. You remove the cool. Remove that cool. See back here? These being like cooler. Like, oh man, look at the difference. Not gonna lie, that's pretty cool. Um, Terrible. But you can see how like you start to get the warmth to really be warm because it's next to some cooler colors. Like look what it does in the back area there. That's crazy. But yeah, I think other than that, it's more about the framing and just I think you just need to pull the camera back a little bit more because then you can get some nice visuals on the shiny floor. Yeah, yeah, and making it not so like overall warm. It'll help. Pretty nice though. Pretty nice. Where are we at here? Random hero, dude. This is kind of crazy. I kind of feel like we need to like actually have a call about this because this came together insanely fast, and you even have videos. Good evening, Jake. What's up, man? How you doing? You asked earlier about. Oh yeah, you're talking about. So if we go back and look at this real quick, I know I asked this earlier, but I have a big issue actually getting the effect outside of Photoshop. Yeah, you're talking about the. You're talking about the getting that ambient color to be so blue. It's probably a LUT control type of thing. Because if you're using LUT files, you can grab your medium and low values, which are going to be like your non-direct light and shadowed areas, and then you can start to tint those or push those colors to be more cool. Um, I don't have too much experience with LUT, but I think that's how I would use it. The other thing is there's got to be a way to push ambient colors to be cooler while direct light is warm. You can also tint shadows specifically in color grading settings in the post process in Unreal. Oh, that's interesting. Like it's literally changing the color of the shadows, not just the because of the value range of the shadow. If you're in Unreal, using environment color on the world settings can do that for you. Edwin coming in, swinging. Good to know. Good to know. All right. So overall, quite impressive how quickly this came together. I like the colors maybe are a little strange being different, and the scale of these ones is quite small. But the overall impression you get from this is really cool. And you nailed that stained glass window. Got the flags moving as well. Gouda, yes, there'll be a new challenge tomorrow. It'll probably be later in the day just because it's on a Friday. The whites feel a little overexposed to you. I would agree with that. Like if we grab, I mean, it's also a little bit of the style, and I'm just now realizing the clouds are very realistic. That's so crazy. Okay, let's copy this image. Let's bring this into Photoshop. Ooh, you can dream, Miro. You can dream. You really want one of those, huh? I'll keep that in mind. You guys actually gave a ton of ideas for challenges, and I took all of them down. Not as in I removed them from Discord, but I I put them in a database. Expect uh, every single one of those ideas in some form to appear this year. Okay, so let's go in here. They have since been deleted. Let's do a levels check on here. Okay, so what are we looking at here? So where you're seeing the blue, like the darker blue, it's getting pretty. That's getting pretty in there. Let's push it a little bit tighter. So I would say in that area where we're seeing blue, that's probably too bright. Censored in. I haven't heard that one before. That's pretty good. They've since been removed and banned. Um, yeah, so where we're seeing the darker blues and some of the lighter blues as well, those are pretty. That's pretty bright pixels. They're still kind of in range. I would say in here it's really dark, or really bright. Sorry. So we go in and actually let's go in and level this. Just try and push this out of that range, and then turn this off. It's definitely still. You can see a difference. It doesn't have the full range like it did before. Hmm. Let's let's try the other way, the other approach. You can't. No, it's not gonna work. Even just a little bit. It helps a little. But yeah, it is. It's quite bright. I think what could possibly help it is getting some more contrast in the darker areas. Like maybe if this got pushed down a little bit more, that looks like it's helping. It's pretty dark here, but you could just, I mean, that could just be, you could take those details and blur them, right? Oh no. There we go. Nice. That post though. Yeah, because what you're missing out on, I think, is a lot of this like inner area here. Those having that contrast. There we go. So you go in and we say like push those shadows down. Just getting that range in there. Let's see if we can. It's interesting. It's so green. That is really interesting. How green that is. You see, it's pretty dark here. That's good. It's just it's not really. I don't know. It's not really popping in certain areas. But I mean, overall, the scene's quite impressive. How quickly you put this together. There's no breakdown of it. That's interesting. I would love to see like how you figured out how you wanted to break this all down, or how you were going to texture all of this. The color differences between these, I think it works, but there's a line here that's broken where we have like this straight line and then it goes down and then it's this line and then it's this one again. So kind of going up and down, and there's some misalignment and stuff here. These are just those fine tuning moments. Yeah, a lot of minor things. Really cool though. Turned out great. Breakdown happens while we work on it. Joke. All right. What are we looking at here next? What's happening? Jesse. Antique machete. By antique you mean cut a lot of things? Yo, that looks pretty sharp for an antique machete. So this is, I mean, it's pretty standard. Looks all right. I think your normal map is where we're seeing the most issues, if I want to call them issues, like things to work on. So you have like little scratches and dents and stuff in there. Ollie, what's up, man? How you doing? You're seeing a new headset? No, you're seeing pure chaos, unadulterated chaos. I forgot my headphones at work. Yes, these are Medis. Um, so, oh geez. So these like smaller details, I would be really careful about bringing them in through the normal map. A lot of these are going to be in your albedo, a lot more in your roughness, and thinking about what this material is versus this material. Like I'm curious. I guess this is the metalness map. I think it is. I think this is metalness. Yeah, base color, metallic, roughness, normal map. Yes. So, yeah, that's really interesting. Because your metal is very rusted, of course. The thing that sticks out to me probably the most is not the blade. It's the way you're UVing it. This prop should probably be a 2K max if it's first person. The other thing I think is you have the opportunity to have some normal information between these two materials, that little gap there. I'm not sure if it's there in the high poly, but it doesn't really seem to show itself much in the low poly. Always twice the res for ArtStation close-ups. I mean, there's part of me that says you want your art to look good on your portfolio. The other part of me says that I don't know if you're capable of making this look good for in-game real-time shippable, because you're either leaning on this resolution to make it work, to make it look good, or you know what you're doing and you just made it high res because it looked better. And because I can't answer that, I have to err on the side of being careful. Do you know what I mean? So there's always that internal battle when it comes to that topic. But I think getting some, like the roughness that's on here, I'm not sure what this material is made out of, and I think that's really important to highlight. I'm not sure what type of damage has occurred on this. It doesn't really have like it's got a lot of damage and stuff, but it doesn't really have character that tells me something about it. Textures don't have to be quadratic anymore. I mean, I would say they do need to be quadratic. That's another thing I wanted to highlight is like, this would be great with a reference for contrast. Yeah, I think so. I think so. Yeah, understanding what the materials are made out of, how they're aged, and that being reflected in the roughness and the albedo is going to be important. And then there's the technicals of like non-square or non-quadratic textures where you're going. It's 2K textures basically being streamed in. The thing you have to remember is resolution wise, when it goes down to a 2048, the length of it goes down to a 1024, right? So the resolution really gets crushed down. The scratches, and yeah, you want some more logic to like the types of damage that are happening, and like where it's rusting and where there's damage in the blade would be really, that'd be really good to see, I think. I'm also not seeing maybe, let's see here. The sharpening here is very subtle. I think if you get that edge nice and like it's subtle, yet there's a really distinct edge on it here. Getting that to really pop is going to be important, I think. And again, like you can't tell the difference between the metal and the blade or in the handle. I think if we saw the difference there, I think that would be good. Which is I don't know why, because like I see the difference in your metalness, your metallic. I'm not sure why we're seeing. Maybe it's because the albedo for the metal is quite dark. I know it's rusted, but the metal itself is quite dark. Is that strange? Maybe the lighting. Yeah, it could be the lighting for sure. Yeah, and the scratches being lighter kind of make you think that there's metal under the grip. Bray, I've seen that where you have like let's say you have a banner or an ad that needs to be long. What you could do is say that the banner is a 1x4. So what happens is you take the 1x4 here. Maybe I just illustrate it like this. So if you need to make an ad or a banner in a game that's long like this, you UV split it here, and then you move this section to here, and then in the UVs in the model you split it here, and then you re UV it to here, so it would go like this. Um, the text would go this way, right, and then it would continue here. Oop. I just tried to. So then it becomes square, which helps with the mipping. Long props are done that way as well. Yeah, yeah. I always wondered when you want to make a less important prop with, let's say, a 512 by 512 and still have good quality texture sticker on it. Do you add it through Photoshop because SBS Painter is usually starting to get pixelated? No, you would actually float it as a decal. It's cut out. Posted some reference and critique. Let's go. Oh yeah, dude. Oh wow, that's really interesting. Oh, weird. So there's chipping. It's a coated metal. Okay. Hmm. You can see how even with all the damage and stuff that's going on in there, you're not really seeing it in the roughness or in the normal. Like the surface is not damaged so much as like the way the lighting is hitting it. You can see it's much rougher at this angle. Yeah, floating decals would be how you would do that. That's really interesting. No, we look at it through that through that lens. So there's some things where it's like, see these lighter details. These just throw you off or kind of break the illusion of what you're seeing here. Man, this is super sharp, and I don't see it enough here. It might be the lighting because the lighting looks really cool in color. This is really intriguing too. It's like this endpoint used to be coated with the same stuff, I guess, and it chipped away. Hmm. But yeah, it's kind of a hard asset to judge as well. I think it's something that a lot of us aren't familiar with. I'm Man, I really want to click on your portfolio and see what else you've built, but we got to keep moving. Maybe if we find some time. All right. Tudorica. Let's see here. Okay. Got a pistol. We got a pistol. Do you know about the weapons library? I think I have it in here. Weapons. Let's see. No, I don't have it in here. What the heck? Give me a second here. Notion. Are you blind? Is everyone blind? Okay. Let's go. So we're still working on the updated version of this, which honestly you can find down here. Arrow weapons test. You can get to here with the exclamation mark TEC or question mark TEC in the Discord. What pistol is this? I wonder if this is in here. Croatian gun. It's a pistol, right? So we can just filter by pistol. Kind of looks like this one, a little bit. No, not really. The grip is. I'm not a weapons person, so doesn't look like we have it covered in here. Either way, when we look at the details on here, I mean, it looks like you've been paying attention to how it's all kind of set up and the way the trigger is. Oh, you even have like the. Is this the release for being able to pull the trigger? The grip is longer because of the extended mag. Oh, is that this piece here? That is cool. I like the difference in color as well. It would be nice to be able to see the top pulled back so you can see the exposed barrel. These scratches seem a little they seem a little off, and I wonder if it's just because I'm not very familiar with the way that they scratch when they move around. Because this piece shifts back and forth every time you fire, right? That's mag release, really? This one in the back here? Dang. I'm like doing this with my hand now. Man, it's this pistol's so interesting. You have that? No, it's not quick release. I thought it was like the one next to the trigger. Really? Huh. That's safety, double safety. Yeah, I figured this was like it unlocks your ability to squeeze the trigger. Oh, the back is safety. Okay. Man, this is intriguing. So the text, I mean, of course it says Springfield on there, but the text feels a little deep in the depth of the normal. Uh, and the only other things I'm kind of reacting, man, this area right here feels really nice. I think the way you're doing your metals and how you're aging the edges of it and the scratching, I think those are, as well as the depth of the text and stuff. I think that's where it's kind of breaking down the most. It's nitro boost. What, Ollie? What do we what? It's a double trigger too for little kids, I think. It just sounds weird, man. Maybe these edges are a little sharp as well on the cut in here. I don't know. Whenever I see sharp edges, I'm like, it's too sharp. If it feels sharp, I'm like, it needs to be a little softer. Like this is pretty soft. This is quite soft as well, but it really illustrates the material difference in like how the bevels are kind of illustrated. So that's cool. Yeah. And then the scratch, like I was talking about, I would definitely look at like how these are. I mean, maybe you already know. This decal also feels really close to the edge here. I'd push it back just a little bit. Maybe it starts here. For the metal, what should I add? More metal. I think what you need to be looking at is how metal reacts to lighting. Right now, this doesn't look maybe like the right metal or the way that the roughness or the way lighting hits it. I would expect it to look. Fingerprints are always good, for sure. You don't have to go crazy with it, but fingerprints are good. And anywhere it feels like makes sense with the scratches. Dude, you see that? Made in Croatia. Right there. Springfield Armory, USA. Made in Croatia. Shokri, were you reading those this whole time, or did you just pick up on that? Yeah, it doesn't really feel like the material that you expect. I'm trying to think if I can... trying to find DEFCON's portfolio. It sucks because I know him as DEFCON. Zangief, what's up, man? How you doing? Like more shinier? Not necessarily. It's just not receiving nice. It's just not how it's just not receiving the lighting how I would expect it to. You know what I mean? Like something doesn't it just feels off. Um and this is where my inability to describe weapon surface materials is really hitting hard. Let's see what we can do here. Yeah, see, like these edges are quite sharp, but that seems okay. But you can see there's a difference in the roughness between these two materials. I know it's not the same gun. Is that an extended clip as well? What is happening here? Yeah, let's see what else we can find in here. Man, he got that text real small. That's a high res texture, sir. Let's see what's going on here. There's also machining patterns that usually get missed, where it's like you can see like this circular pattern that's happening in the scratches, or like how things are cut or polished. Nice, nice. Is that ArtStation 2022? Howl. It's Easter eggies. I don't know. It's tough to describe, but this it just doesn't feel right. I would definitely so Defcon is his name in Discord. If you don't know who he is, I would I would definitely poke him about how he's achieving those surfaces because that's where I think it's breaking. Like the bottom part feels quite good, but it's where your metals are at feels off somehow. Back again to spread the support, dude. Thanks a lot, man. 37 months subscribed. That's what do I even what what? Thanks, man. Let's see here. Miro. Ooh. Oh man, Miro. I promise I'm excited. I'm just sleepy. So we got Miro up next. Let me just open this up. Yeah, you've been working on this one for a bit. Just because I don't enter to the what is it? The calls, the Discord streams that are happening doesn't mean I'm not mousing over to see who's streaming and seeing what they're up to. We need the Pog icon from Twitch here. From Discord, I mean. Oh. Oh. Wait, the one with my face? Oh, jeez. All right, I'll look into that, Sandy. Um, so overall, this is pretty sick. Like, this is really cool. The weld lines are pretty messy. Maybe that's intended. I like the messiness of the upper one versus the bottom one. Those feel more consistent to me. Dang. Man, I do not have context of what I'm looking at here. This is the back of this. So we need to see this side. Tyler, what's up, man? How you doing? Yeah, the quality is pretty high on this bad boy. I mean, I really like the weld lines. Are you just bringing in the model into what into ZBrush, doing the weld lines and then bringing it back over? Yeah, it should still be open. We've got what is it? We got another 40 minutes into ZBrush. Yeah, cool. And then I guess you're just decimating it down enough to be able to bring it back over. Like, what are you rendering this in? Very messy welds. It's funny, man, because messy welds and someone who doesn't know how to weld are very different looking. Decimating, nice. No, I mean it makes sense. That's how I would do it, because we're looking at your high poly, right? This is the high poly mesh. Messy welds are usually spotty and not so much wobbly, but I mean, it's in Marmoset rendered. Yeah, high poly, nice. I mean, this looks cool, man. I do want to see the other side just because this is how people will recognize it or be familiar with it. But visually, it's quite interesting. This metal piece here feels really thin. I don't know. This one here, it feels about half the thickness that you would expect it to be. I think because we're looking at all these other metal pieces that are averaging about double the thickness, and then you've got this one's quite thin. Same when you look at it with this one compared to this one. There's no other side. What? Oh no, you're right. Hey, look at that. Look at that. I'm going crazy. Your tape looks amazing. How did that happen? And no, I'm not saying you're not capable of that. I'm like, did you just make the wraps in how would I say that? You made the wrap for the tape in Blender with Solidify, and then you use like a cloth brush and ZBrush and kind of bent them a little bit. Marvelous. I made a proxy and then literally made it spin on top of itself. No. And then ZBrush on top. Wow, okay. It is a little wobbly here. Like right on that edge. You see it? Let's get right in there. Oh no. It's like your tape. It looked so cool that it just turned into a princess's castle. This one here. It's like that craziness. A little wobbly. But man, this looks cool. Dude, look at this area down here. Are you gonna put weld lines on that? Or is that supposed to be just quite clean? Alphas. Whoa, wait. What's going on over here? Are these gaps? What is this? Is this something missing from your render? These guys. Yeah, this looks really cool, man. I think for these renders, you should probably... Solder points? Okay. I would put a flat texture and then just where this pattern is, at least for these renders, have that in there, and then this pattern can just be like a different roughness value. That way you just see some type of detail in there. Holy macaroni. Indeed, macaroni all over the place. Indeed, indeed. Really cool. Nice consistency of detail as well. And like the ratio of like high detail versus areas of rest. It's almost 50-50. But I think it's holding up okay. It's not too much yet. I think it'll really come down to like how you texture it and what details pop out because of the texturing process. You know what I mean? All right, Jeremiah with a G. Lost in Nature. Latest project. Would like to know if this place is good enough to start applying, or if this piece is good enough to start applying for jobs, or how many more I need. I'm looking for an environment or a level dressing job. So I guess it all really depends on, now that I'm seeing it in motion, you're getting some nice parallax in the pieces. The way the water is positioned doesn't really feel right. Like it feels like this area is more flooded than this is a natural waterway, if that makes sense. Always wanted to make an environment where nature plays a big role. Real-time dynamic lighting. The theme ruins. Help me dive into the... Rather collected different pieces of concept art and real-life references. That's cool. What are we looking at here? Nice. So oh, nice. Hey, look at that guy. So Quixel Bridge is in here. So a lot of this stuff is scans. That should probably, if it's not mentioned in here, you should mention that in here. So this is a cool scene. I think I'm going to go into your portfolio, dare I say, because with this being the one scene in your portfolio and not knowing what you've made and what's a mega scan, I don't think that's enough to get a job. Like, I need to know and be confident in your ability to create content, even if at the end of the day you end up doing level dressing. I need to know that you understand how maps work, like what map does what, and how to create content as well as put it together in a scene. So honestly, I think what you need is you need some pieces that show that you're capable of making content as well as the set dressing. Because I mean, this looks pretty cool. Framing wise, it looks really interesting. But I would say also it's not enough yet. Which sounds crazy because this is like, dude, look at this scene. It's because it's not checking certain boxes, which are things like me being confident in your ability to create content from nothing to a piece that can sit in this scene, right? So I'm trying to think if there's anything else I could say to add to that. I mean, creating an environment on your own, using like 10% of it as mega scans, I think is a good next environment. Dr. Manhattan, how you doing? Good to see you. Overall, the mood's pretty cool though, and you should consider this a great win for your portfolio. It looks really good. Just make sure to highlight that you're using Megascans wherever you are. I don't know how much of this is yours and how much is Megascans. Some breakdowns of pieces would be good, showing what you're using, because I would love to see, like when you use a, oh thanks man, when you're looking at an entire environment like this, it's really easy to go overboard with assets, right? You should be able to make a scene like this with maybe 20 props. And like if most of these assets aren't yours, that's where the next piece of the puzzle can be shown, is like somewhere down at the bottom of the post, showing like a breakdown of all the parts that you're using. That would be key to showing like your ability to reuse the same asset in different ways to get an incredible scene. But yeah, I mean, it looks cool either way. But yeah, let's see what else we got going on in here. We're actually getting to the end of all of these posts. We got Remy in here. Hey, this isn't really a critique, but we spoke about this a while ago in stream. Do you have any advice for achieving this Valorant-like texture look? I mean, that looks... It's very much about understanding the rules around what they're doing, right? Yeah, it's really intriguing. Because some of it makes me think that there's like ZBrush models. Yeah, Dr. Manhattan be super proud of that scene, man. It turned out great. There's like little highlights on the edges that make me think that it's a ZBrush texture, and then they used the ZBrush model to help them texture. I mean, we could do a steady on this type of stuff on stream sometime. Because I mean, there's some little what looks like normal information, but it's very much like brush strokes. Like you can see a stroke here, and it's duplicated here. They didn't even bother to rotate the model to try and hide it. Man, the resolution difference between things is crazy. Like, look at the resolution on the wall versus here, but then look at the wall versus here. Like, the textile density between these two is super off. Oh, Droppy, dude, feel free to post that. I can add it to our database of tutorials. There's a great Valorant art dump. Let's see here. A PDF on how to create similar size, I should say. Grizzlewood art. Let me see here. I'm opening it. Do 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 do. Okay, so wait, before I do this, let me link him out so that you guys know who we're looking at. So this is Grizzlewood. Purpose of this guide. We're just going to scroll through here and look at what's happening. Base color maps, light generator. And so it is a bunch of layering. Man, there's nice gradients and stuff going on here as well. Oh man, this is really great. Ooh, this looks like exactly what you need. I'm gonna post this in chat as well. There you go. Yeah, I think there's a lot of rules that are going into play around how color is being shifted around. Yeah, this is great. I need to post this on the tutorials thread. Let's see what this one's about. What's going on here? Doom 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 doom. Dude, those hands in the drawer, that's kind of terrifying. Yo, look at that roughness view. So nothing's very shiny. I'd say your base color range is pretty. I don't know. Does that look all right to you, Ben? If you're in chat, I feel like there's a little bit of consistency issues with either saturation or bright or value, where they're kind of like in different ranges a bit. Oh man, my hair is like, what is happening? One of those days, guys. One of those days. I mean, overall, they look pretty. This is really interesting. The way this is presented. Oh, yo. Man, you have that door open. Yeah, Ben, I was feeling the same. It was like it's a bit saturated and contrast, but hard to say. Yeah, like this one feels a little high on the saturation and maybe a little too dark. Same with this area, maybe it's like who opened the door? That's what they're saying. Like, see, this is really interesting. Is the you have the hand here and then the character, and I see no wires, but in the shadows I see wires, but the wires stop up here, so the wire shadows need to go higher. Oh, yo, hang on. This one, that is a very intriguing camera angle. It's very difficult to get a tilted angle to look good, and this looks pretty cool. I like this shot actually quite a bit. It gets straightened out. It feels a little bit more natural. You frame the door as well. Is the door in the shot when it opens? It would be cool if it was still opening. And I would love the shadow of a person. But seeing the wires here, I think it's more about seeing that, right? And not so much the a person in the window or in the doorway. It wasn't clear to you that there was a door in the beginning. Oh, interesting. That doesn't feel like a door opening to you? I think if it opened just a tad bit later and then you could actually see the door still moving would answer a lot of that. Pretty cool scene though. I will say, like if you frame it like this, so if you look at like where edges are at, this is how I tend to look at everything. Edges that grab my attention. So we have all of these edges. I guess this one would too. Let's do that. So all those edges grab my attention. And when I look at these types of edges, they're like I look at the spaces between them, and this is usually where I tend to look for patterns. I guess this is an edge too right here. And this one. So then I look for patterns in the spacing. And it's this one, and this one where I'm feeling like sure they don't really feel too similar inside, but they do. They don't look like they're similar here, but they feel very similar to me in the size difference. Like especially when you start looking at like this area here, or like the distance from the ceiling to the edge of the light. These are like all the little weird details I end up looking at. Maybe this edge. Pretty cool scene though. Is that everything is very evenly spaced, or it feels slightly artificial in the way that it's positioned. Is the stream rewatchable? Because I think I have missed the first few minutes of my feedback. Yeah, yeah, yeah. You can just go to my the Twitch channel, and then you can go to the VOD section, and you can just go back. But there's a lot of storytelling going on in here, and I think that's really cool. Storytelling is really important. When you look at your roughness, it's all very similar, and I wouldn't be so scared when it comes to like the metal attributes to bring the roughness a little darker. And with these like panels of wood on the wall, I would be. It feels strange that they're slightly darker, though the kind of damage you've got going on the wall goes up it, so that helps a little bit. This looks like they're decals. Man, that door is dirty, bro. You can't really see it in the final render though. It's interesting. In the well lit shot, this is pretty interesting how you did this. These books feel really pillowy. I think the normals look a little soft. Maybe it's just me though. Do you see? I don't know if you see what I'm talking about. You want that carpet? It's pretty chill. That carpet's pretty chill. I like it. Uh, Tudo Rica. Look at that, dude. It even tilts up. That's awesome. You see the pillowiness? Yeah, the poly count on these is quite high as well. I don't think it needs to be like the pillowiness that I'm seeing is something like let's see if we can simulate simulate that jazz. Oh, whoops. Oh, hang on here. Oh boy. Help me. mm, mm. So what I think I'm seeing is if we go and smooth it, turn this all the way up. What I'm seeing is like this kind of like the bottom is being smoothed. And what you probably want to do is, I mean, you could probably just grab these three and inset. Actually, sorry, you can inset them. And you can just like, I'm like, what is happening? Why is that? There we go. You can weld by vertices. I don't know if you're using Blender, but I'm just dabbling here. Um, get this stuff going. Oh wow, the auto weld is not. Just gonna do that. Did that do it? Let's see. Yes, it did. Nice. Okay, and we'll grab these. This is pretty detailed. I don't know if you need to be doing that. You can grab these. Oh, what am I doing? I can just grab the faces and then shade flat. There we go. And then you can weight it. Weighted normals, and then keep sharp, and then it'll maintain those. And you have this guy. What I'm seeing is like it just feels like the light is wrapping in a funny way. We can just dupe this maybe. Get some smaller books in there. The nice thing about not resetting your transforms is you can just hit Alt R and it'll reset the transforms that already exist. So you can do some nice little tweaks there. You just grab these and then Alt R and reset rotations. Book speed run, let's go. Uh, this is how I end up. Uh-oh. How did I? It's like, how did I hide all the UI? Control space is definitely not doing it. Did you know you can press Alt Q in edit mode like in Sculpt? I did it by accident. I love Blender, man. Nice. Yeah, control space is not giving me. Oh, what is this? I was doing something. I somehow entered a full screen mold. Control space works for me. But yeah, it's you can see there's rounding to the surface, but it's not so extreme. Oh yeah, we're getting weird shading on these edges here. Those you'd probably want to. Let me see if marking sharp on them would fix that. Mark sharp? No, no, not gonna help me. Huh? Oh no, it's doing it now. Oh, that's so weird. Okay. Anyways, I think you kind of get the. You. This is just for you, man. Okay, we should look at the next piece here. We've got about 20 minutes to go. Edwin's joining in. Working on a new lighting slash composition project this week. Kit bashing kits from various sources to make a cyberpunk scene. Want some feedback in the overall scene and lighting. Character looks interesting. Hey, is it Tudo Rika? Thank you for posting your work, by the way. Okay. So, big fan of the bokeh. Looks nice. Nice and bokeh-y. Did I skip Tyler? No. Oh my god, you're right. Tyler, buddy. We got you. Um, Let me go through this one, then we'll hit you up, Tyler. Thanks, Oli. Ole. Ole, man. Um, so lighting wise on this character, I guess what I would say is it doesn't really feel like there's always on watch. Thanks, man. It doesn't feel like there's ambient occlusion filling like the crevices, if that makes sense. Like you don't get a sense of like the darkening in the inside core here. Scene wise, this is quite interesting. Is that a hover train? What's happening here? Those are hover cars. Yo, this is really interesting. So shape wise, this is very it's intriguing but very fragile looking. The gun is floating on the back, yes. Suit looks like it would work well with bent normals. Yes, I totally agree. I think that's where the shadows would really come in and the ambient occlusion could really kick in. And bent normals would do wonders on this. I need to do a video on bent normals. They're quite interesting. Um, yeah. So overall, this scene looks quite interesting. I think the backdrop is a little too chaotic. Like it doesn't really feel like there's a sense of order like you see here. Bent normals are coming to Painter this spring too, dude. What? Let's see here. I mean, maybe the information could be pushed back. I mean, you're a lighting artist, so you would know that the darker something is. Let's say, okay, we're doing this. We're going in. Um, so if we're this is a top view, right? And you've got a mountain range back here. We're just gonna make these cards. This is top view. You got some mountains, right? We'll do this so you know these are mountains, guys. And then way over here, this is you. And then you got a building, and maybe like I don't know, a building with a bunch of windows on it. Maybe this one, I guess this has windows as well. Windows are going to be important for this example, so we'll put a building over here too. That's hanging out in the. We should probably say that these are buildings, guys, in the green. And then you're chilling down here, and you're looking this way. We got to be looking with a different color. We're gonna be looking this way. Ugh. Um, Atmosphere blocks light as it comes towards your eyes, right? So the more atmosphere light has to pass through, uh, the more it'll change in the way that it looks as before it gets to your eye. So when you see an object, right, what you're actually seeing when you look at that object is the light is bouncing off that object and then entering your eye. Now, the further an object gets away, the further that bounce has to go to reach your eye, right? So when light, let's say the sun's over here and light goes here and then it goes to you, and then light goes here and then it goes to you, and then light goes here and then goes to you. This is going to be better if I can just draw some straight lines, please. Um, this distance is quite long. Now, based off of what it's bouncing off of, changes a lot of that, right? So the brighter the value, or the brighter the brightness of the light that's passing through the atmosphere, the easier time it has getting to your eye. So if you can imagine a really reflective, like you've got windows, some quantum theory, I see. So let's say you've got some windows on these buildings, right? Where those windows are at, let's imagine that the windows are reflecting the sun and you can see the sun in it. Now, because it's reflecting the sun, you see that little highlight. That's going to go all the way. Distance makes the mountains blue. Old Icelandic proverb and nostalgia, and also how different stuff looks far away. So, atmosphere blocks your ability to receive lighting in your eyes, simply put. And the brighter something is, the easier time it has to get through the atmosphere to get to your eyes. So, things that are in shadow tend to take on visually more atmospheric noise, if you want to call it that. So, stuff that's in shadow just becomes more the color of atmosphere, whereas things that are really bright, like snow on a mountain or something really shiny or reflective, can get to your eye through the atmosphere easier. So what's actually what we're seeing? Let's see here. What we're seeing here is you've got a bright pixels here. When they get to your eye, or your proverbial eye, that should be visible from further and further away. But like these buildings, for example, unless this building is just in shadow, see the shadow here is light. Man, this is weird. Some it just doesn't feel right the way that I'm seeing things go into the atmosphere as they get further from the camera. And it might be because of the color of, that we're playing with. Like you've got darker buildings, but this one's maybe darker than this one. And then this is quite a bit brighter, so it's going to come forward. So there's like all this sorting stuff happening. It's confusing my eyes. Like my natural what is it? Is this even gonna work? Nice. No. My natural inclination, is that the right word for that? Is to take these and just make them even more atmosphere, you know, and just really kind of average them out so they go even further back. Because then you really focus on this. There's so much stuff going on back there. You might as well just, and you've got like atmospheric height as well, right? So maybe let's see if this is gonna work. Like maybe further down, it's thicker. You really want it to not be distracting you. You know, you can see the difference too, and it really separates out this shape. Man, I want to include this too. Why? Why? F. I think you see what I mean though. It's kind of difficult to try and fake this. Hmm. It's a very abstract scene. Sherman, how you doing? The other thing, like I was saying, is the way that things are positioned and orientation is really like it throws your brain through a loop a little bit. So something to think about. I'm gonna put a little bit of a timer on here. Tyler, it's your time, man. It's your moment. Boom. Okay. Empty space on the left. Ah, yeah, that's a good point. Something should be here, or it doesn't need to be. I mean, that's much stronger. Cool shot though. Interesting scene. Might be worth it instead of like this type of lighting is to do some underlighting that's very uh, cool by comparison of all the warm lighting that's up here. You could try some underlighting that's very cool. Like there's a bunch of neons down here. All right, Tyler, what's the down low? Bro, oh, this is looking pretty cool. So here's my, uh, is it Final Masters Project? FMP? Yeah, this is the last, I think this is the last piece. Final major project. Okay, thank you. Uh, Coming to an end of it, so really, really time to get more eyes on it. Anything that needs to be reworked, anything that's missing. Minimal year project. Your MYP. Um, hmm. Let's take a look here. So you're doing both scenes. So you've got all this stuff happening out here, and then the hallway inside here. I take it that's this. Are you? Yeah, all connected. Have you promised the outside and the inside? Since this is your final project, does it have to be this big? It's the same scene, yeah. So out here, you go into this space, and then in there, it's this. The only reason I know that is because this arch with the pattern, I see it here. For uni, yeah, but can cut down for portfolio. Hmm. Okay. Uh, so for uni, I would leave this scene in the outside for how long until you're done? Honestly, actually, before we get into this, like how much time do you have before you got to turn this in? You got 4 weeks before you need to turn this in. Okay, so the outside is probably the weakest part right now. The reason I was asking about how long it's going to take before you need to turn stuff in is because right now you've got a whole lot on your plate, I think, for what you need to pull off. 4 weeks is doable, but you're going to be grinding a bit, I think. Um, yeah, I would thicken that water up. Thicken that water up. I'd make it harder to see through and really just commit to the reflections. Yeah, you overscope big time. Thick water. What I would actually suggest doing, so for this one, thickening the like increasing the opacity of the water or making it more opaque is probably the better way of putting it. Um, Designing a reason as to why there's these little inset pieces here. I like how they go into the stone. It just doesn't feel like they're part of the stone, right? It feels like the stone's kind of wrapped around it. Let's see here. I'd probably put some greenery in here somewhere. You need some like medium and small props to kind of like facilitate the scale that you're trying to go for here. Um, but I would really take this scene and just go just far enough to get it okay for the for school, and really focus on this one shot. This shot is really cool. What Oliver was saying earlier about the candles on the sides being really strong is he's definitely right. The candles are super bright. Something to break up the walls behind the arches. Yeah, that would be good. You can do a number of things with like decals and stuff. The thing you should ask yourself is, what is this place? Yeah, Edwin, I would say that's pretty spot on. The first image, your focal point should be the big statue back here, and yet the candles are kind of the things that are pulling the focus. So you want the candles quite low in brightness. I think you could probably take. Yeah, I can't do it with Photoshop, but basically, if you lower the brightness of the candles by like half or more, then they become like really kind of toned down, right? Take these openings up here, have the light pierce through that quite sharply, like they kind of are, but just really strong direct light, and use one of those to highlight the statue, and everything will point at the statues at that by then. Fewer chandeliers. I mean, the chandeliers are, they feel strange to me because they don't feel aligned with each other. I'd play with the chandeliers not being lit. Like maybe they're there but they're not on, because you got all these ones down here. You have these little candles as well on the ground. Those are super bright. All of your lights are, you've basically flipped all of your lighting. Candles, which are pretty low in lighting and like light brightness, or like in their lumen value, or they should be quite low. And lumen brightness coming from outside should be pretty high. Um, Candle lumen 12.57 lumens. Home theater projectors where ambient light is kept at a minimum. You need a minimum of 1500 lumens. For classroom, conference rooms, and rooms with windows, a projector with a minimum of 2500 lumens is the best. It's projector data. Yeah, these windows above, this is probably where most of your light should be coming from. And the little candles should just be kind of lighting the way down below. The chandeliers, I would play with having the lights off and see how it feels. And then I'd really focus on, you see how these smaller details, really populate those small details around. Like put books on the tables, put stuff under the tables. Maybe there's a seat somewhere. You've got these like super tall ladders. What are those going to? Right now they look like they're just by design. Maybe they're to get to the chandeliers. Yeah, the floor is nice. I like the floor as well. I would maybe bring the, dude, these chandeliers over here feel very out of place. These three. But I would maybe think about bringing the statue even more forward. Like it's just really far back. Just bring it right up there. In that type of architecture, chandeliers tend to be hanging from the center of the arches, source being Latin, and my country being full of churches like that. Yeah, so you're saying because of the way this is arched, these would be pinned here in the center point. Yeah, these really tall ladders I feel like should maybe be more for like accessing higher books, maybe? I don't know. Yeah, Oliver's thinking the same. That's funny, man. Hmm. The other thing is with the really bright lights up above, these like this cloth stuff that's going around the tops can be hanging in a pretty nice way. It also feels like they're coming from the right going left quite often instead of coming from the left going right, if that makes sense. It doesn't feel like they're crossing like this. It feels like they're all coming from the same side. But yeah, out here I would look for medium and smaller shapes to kind of populate the space. Think about how this looks like a warm area, so maybe some like cloth that's draped, that's for casting shadows and details like that. And think about what you could put in these spaces. Also, how you can blend this with your rocks to make them a little bit more carved out of the rock. Death of the Nile. Yo. It's pretty cool, though. I think also with your water particles, um, because they're in shadow, I would lower the brightness of it. Because they look like they're unlit particles, so you just need to bring the value down. That way they look like they're in shadow with everything else. But yeah, pretty cool. Pretty cool. Okay, I think that's it, guys. I think that is it. Yo. Yo. Got a wedding to go to this weekend. It's going to be fun. Let's get that music roaring away. Yes, Robbie. Probably a small one though. Foozle family. Foozle fam. Should be fun. Train ride 3 hours. Let's go. Let's go. But I appreciate you guys posting all your work. Some good stuff in there. Some nice feedback I think was had. Also, thank you for accepting my delay. This week has been a very busy one for sure. Been feeling it. But thankfully these streams are pretty easy. We just do our thing. We just chat it up. Hey Droppy, have a good evening. Thanks for the stream as well. The stream viewage. But okay. I'll see you guys later. And yeah, I guess I'll see you on Monday. And don't forget to post if you have good resources. Post them in the resource channel. I'll make sure they get up onto our resource page. Break those polygons. Wow. All right. Have a good weekend, guys. I'll see you in the Discord. Okay, bye.